What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Golden Ticket Show Lunchtime Locks. We are back. We've taken a couple weeks off. We've been dealing with some stuff off air, and I'm glad we're back. We're right in the middle of the Australian Open, the Africa Cup Nations, NCAA, and college and NBA are kicking off and heating up. So let's go over what we've had the last couple weeks. What I love coming up today. Hope everyone had a great last couple weeks. Hope everyone enjoyed the game last night. Those were some great games. It's I after watching them in Hard Knocks, I'm now somewhat of a Lions fan myself, so it was just it's very fun watching it seemed like the Lions play like the way they've been playing the last couple weeks. But with that being said, let's go ahead, let's get into this. We're going to start off a little bit differently. We're going to start with some Australian Open tennis bets. Now, we have not brought up tennis yet on this show. For the people who aren't familiar, I played 4 years of college tennis. I've been playing tennis since I was 9 years old. I've watched tennis just about any chance I can. I'm still new to betting it. It's one of the most profitable sports to bet, but it's very unpredictable. You have to find very fine lines, and the numbers have just been kind of off. So, but with the help of an associate that knows a lot more insight than me into tennis, kind of come up with some good bets, as you'll see them coming across the screen here at the bottom as we go over it. So what to watch for if you are wanting to bet it, because I know DraftKings and FanDuel have been putting out tennis boosts a lot lately. So for those who are wanting to bet it and are not familiar, we have a very interesting rest of the draw for men and women's. Now, and this just isn't a sport that you could just let's take the heavy favorite, put it in a parlay, because you never know what is going to happen in this sport. As we'll start with the men here. I'm going to share my screen to show you guys what the draw looks like right now. So as you can see, you got Djokovic, who's a more common name, Taylor Fritz, who has been playing very well, upsetting Tsitsipas. Sinner versus Rublev, who were both projected to win. Hurkacz, who I've been very impressed with. I think this was a little bit of a worry match right here for me, that he went to tiebreak twice in three, even though he won in 3 sets. Going up against Medvedev, and then Zverev versus Alcaraz, where Zverev had a very tough 5-set match that went to tiebreak. Alcaraz has pretty much won every one of his matches straight set, as you can see here. He's the number 2 seed, so he's always at the bottom. Look, straight set. I think he's actually every round he's faced anyone. Straight set all the way through the tourney. So that is kind of what we're looking at here. As you can see, we have a big match between Djokovic and Fritz. Now, Djoko is a little, like, as anyone who watches know, he's on the older side. This is one to really match. I think Fritz is going to give him his hardest competition. A good friend of mine over on Twitter, I'll make sure to link him in the video as well later on. If you want some more tennis insight, he does mention a lot with tennis on his page. Fritz is a power hitter, and Djokovic has not faced a power hitter yet this tournament. That's something big that is going to happen, is that Djokovic is going to have to deal with someone who can consistently hit the ball hard and keep it away from him and force him to run. I think if this starts going towards a 4th or 5th set, then I would live money line bet Fritz to win no matter what the odds are. But this will be Djokovic's real first, I think, test. As you can see, like, Manarino is good, but he got straight setted twice. Echeverry, I just wasn't too impressed with him. I think everyone was expecting a Shelton matchup with instead of Manarino, but we got Manarino, and I like the way he plays. Sinner is one that I absolutely love. As the more I watch this guy, the more I think he's gonna eventually be, him and Alcaraz are gonna be fighting for the number 1 spot within the next 2 years. I really like his game. I think he takes this. I think it's a very, very tough. I think it's gonna be a very tough match, but given kind of how Rublev's been playing, you see a 5-set match here. Where's this guy at? He's went to tiebreak just about every single match, and I just don't think he has what it takes to hold up a center who has been swept. I just think this is a great spot for them. So I think center could win this, as you'll see right here at the bottom. I think he's definitely going to win the first set. I think he wins this in at the very least 3-1. I don't think it goes to 5 sets. Same with Alcaraz, who has not given up a set once. He's won majority of his sets like 6-1, 6-2. He's been dominating. I stood away from this one right here, Hurkacz versus Medvedev, because Medvedev is very good. And even though I'm high on Hurkacz, I just don't. I think this is going to be too close of a match for me to call. So we're just staying away from that one. So that's really kind of how you need to look at it. Is you need to look at that's the big matchup, how Djokovic plays here, because Djokovic is either going to have to play to win the tournament. Djokovic, if he gets out of this round, has to play Sinner and Alcaraz, two of the top players in the world right now. I just think that this is a great spot for Djokovic to kind of have a letdown game. I like Sinner or Alcaraz to win the tournament. So if we had that as a future, we mentioned it on a show a couple weeks ago. So if Sinner versus Alcaraz in the finals, it means our bet wins regardless. So I love that one. With that being said, let's go ahead and go on to Premier League. Now, we have been very back and forth on Premier League this year. We're currently, over the last month, we're 9-3 on Premier League plays. We haven't played one since New Year's. There hasn't been a lot of games going on. So, but I do have one today I really like. It is Brighton Hove Albion to win. I think this is a great spot for them. This line is a little bit off. I think it should be a lot lower, but given how Wolverhampton's been playing over their last couple of games, that kind of has made this drop a bit. But Wolves are not good on the road. Their expected goals, which is based off like shots where everything's expected to go in, on the road is negative 4.8 and they're going against a Brighton team that has a plus 5.2 expected goal average at home. Wolves are missing 2 of their best players in the midfield, and with the way that their counterattack works, it's going to be very hard to play without them. So we're taking Brighton Hove Albion, who has slowly become one of my favorite teams this year. I'm an Arsenal fan through and through, but I've really been liking how Brighton's been playing, so that's going to be kind of my dark horse to potentially get a spot in the top 4 this year. As I think they need a big win this week, so I think this is the way to kick that off, is to get a win right here. So that's our play right there. Brighton Hove Albion money line. I think it was minus 160 last I checked. Let's go on to college ball. We have 2 great college plays today. We're getting into the point where it's not that many big games on the same day except for Saturday. So we have 2 big games. It's on Wake and Kansas game. We're going to take a quick break real quick, and then we're going to come back and we're going to break down these 2, our 3 NBA bets, and then we're going to look ahead to some NFL bets this week and some Major League Baseball futures that I am very excited about already. So make sure you guys stay tuned.
My name's Ryan Allison. I've spent over a decade immersed in the art of tattooing. Sharply honing my skills has materialized into a diverse and prestigious body of work. Each tattoo reflects my relentless pursuit of excellence, and every client I work with is a living embodiment of that unwavering commitment. I will gladly and wholeheartedly embrace your distinct vision.
Durham Remodeling has been serving the Quad Cities area since 1973, and with over 50 years of excellence on their track record, you'll see why it's so easy to trust their experts when it comes to all of your home improvement projects. This family-owned business has you covered on all your needs. Protect your home or building from the elements today and get great roof repair services. Need new windows? No problem. Durham Remodeling can upgrade your windows and doors. Whether you want to upgrade the little details in your home or office, or want to tear a room down and start fresh, the expert contractors at Durham Remodeling have your back. Even the smallest changes can completely transform your space. Ready to start entertaining your friends for backyard barbecues? Durham Remodeling will help you plan, design, and build your deck and patio for the perfect outdoor space. Durham Remodeling's work is 100% guaranteed, so you can rest assured that you're getting the best service around. Call 309-786-6715 today for your free estimate for all your roofing, siding, flooring, windows, and painting needs. That's Durham Remodeling, 309-786-6715.
Alrighty, guys, let's go ahead and let's get into the big part of our show today. And that's going to be the NBA and college basketball bets that I love today. So, what do we have today? We have two big games today that are really the ones that everyone's kind of looking at. I mean, obviously there's a lot of the small ones. We got, you have like Northwest State and Southeast Louisiana, Lehigh Colgate, which I think that could sneakily be a good game. I've seen a lot of people betting McNeese and Texas A&M. But again, the only two big games I think a lot of people are focusing on today is Kansas, Cincinnati, and Wake, UNC. And those are the two that we have bets for today. The first one we're going with is my favorite college basketball team, the college that is near and dear to my heart because it is the closest college to where I grew up, and I've always been a fan of them. Wake Forest. Grew up 30 minutes outside of Winston-Salem. I will hate the Deeks whenever they do something bad, and I will love them forever when they play good. So we're taking Wake Forest plus 8.5. Wake has been one of the most efficient teams this year. They're playing well. They have three scorers scoring over 15 points a game. Some top-tier play from some really great players on that team. Their best player in Monsanto just came back from injury. He put up 11 points off the bench. He's definitely going to be playing a lot more minutes tonight. The big concern in this game is foul trouble for their big man going up against Armando Bacot. But I think with the way that UNC is playing, this is going to be a statement game for Wake to let them know that UNC isn't going to run over this conference. Give me Wake plus 8.5 here. I'll fade the public here, and we'll take my Demon Deacons to rock out with at least a cover. I'm hoping for a win. I am praying for a win, but we'll take a cover. And our next one is going to be Kansas minus 7.5. Now, Kansas has been a very good team at home and is literally the proof of it's not easy to win on the road in college basketball, which is why I love this play at home. This line should be around 10.5 to 11.5, but it's at 7 because of their last two road losses kind of had knocked them down just a bit. They're a 7-point favorite at home in one of the hardest arenas to play in college basketball. I'll take it. I'll take the number here. I don't think Cincy has the firepower, the height, the strength, anything to match up with this team. I'll take Kansas minus 7.5 every day of the week here. Now, and like I said, those are our two. We're going to try to focus on 1 to 2 plays a day because unless there's something tomorrow that I just have not seen yet, there's a lot more games tomorrow for college. We got some Big East action, Butler, Georgetown. I think that West Virginia UCF game is going to be really good tomorrow. Kentucky, South Carolina, not really. Wisconsin, Minnesota, I think will be good. Texas, Oklahoma is always a good game. There's a lot more action tomorrow, so we'll definitely Michigan, Purdue, I think is going to be a very sneakily good game. But I think those are the only two we're going to have today. I think even the public's kind of fading us. 70% of the money is on UNC, but 88% of the money is with us on Kansas. So I'll take that. I'll rock with it. And let's go on to NBA. So we took a break from posting, so I haven't been able to track what we've been doing. But we've had a rough month to start January. We're looking to bounce back here. We had a good day yesterday. We were 2-1 on our basketball plays. The Nets, with the biggest choke job of the year, is the only thing that hurt us because we took them plus 11.5 and they lost by 12 after they were up 24 points with 7 minutes left and they lost. I had such high hopes for the Nets. I've talked about it all year. I thought they were going to be better. I really did. They needed to be better. They don't have a draft pick for the next 4 years. They gotta hope someone wants to play in Brooklyn, and I don't think anyone wants to play in Brooklyn right now. So, but nevertheless, we cashed on Jokic 11.5 rebounds, and we cashed on the under in the Pacers Suns game. So, with that being said, let's go on to today. We have 3 plays. If you guys follow us on TikTok and on Twitter, we already posted our first play of the day, and that is simply Pistons plus 12.5. I know, it's terrible. The Pistons are garbage. But this is a perfect spot for a double-digit cover. The first thing I'm looking at here on this one is simply this. This Pistons team in their last couple games. Let's pull this up here for you guys as I'm saying it. Let's look at this. In their last, let's see 4 games, they have covered they've been underdogs double digits in 3 of those 4 games. They covered in 3 of them, and then they beat the Wizards as a 6-point underdog. They beat them by 12. This is a team, since that Bagley trade, they have been playing very well versus we look at this team since New Year's, they have only covered a spread 1 time this whole season, and that was as a 3-point favorite against Boston. Look, 7-point favorite, they lost by 4. 8-point favorite. Granted, Giannis was out this game, so we could put an asterisk there. 13-point favorite, they won by 6. 2-point underdog, they lost by 40. 4-point favorite, they only won by 1 at the buzzer. 13-point, won by 11. They have not been able to cover the spread. As you can see, not only have they not been able to cover a 12.5 spread, they're 1-9 on spreads. But not to mention this, the whole year, they have only covered a 12.5 point spread 4, 6, 7, 8, 10 times out of the nearly 40 games they've played this year already, 45. This team does not play double-digit games, and when they do, it's not the games we're expecting. As you can see, a lot of these games, look, 16-point favorite, they won by 13. They have not been able to cover the spread. I think they've been playing down to a lot of these teams because they know it's not a worry. But the big focal point I'm looking at in this game is one thing. Let's look at the Milwaukee Bucks schedule after this game. So let's look here. So we're right here, January 22nd. These next 2 games, see if I can zoom in for you guys here. You can see, look, these next 2 games are Cleveland. They have in a 6-day spread. They play Cleveland twice, New Orleans once, and then Denver on the road before making a huge 5-game road trip that it should be a little mixed match, but they have a tough 4-game stretch coming up. That 4-game stretch simply just means that the Bucks have to win those games. They're going to be looking ahead to that. They'll obviously win this game. I just don't think it'll be a 13-point blowout. So I'm willing to take the Pistons here. I've actually been impressed with the way they've played. I secretly like the Pistons. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's Detroit sports being so mediocre, but I secretly root for them because their fan bases are usually so passionate about it. But they've actually been our most profitable team this year. Every player we've bet on, every time we've bet on them, I think last I saw on Pistons and Pistons players, we're 92% win rate right now. So I'm going with them again. I'm rocking with them tonight. We're going to take the plus 12.5 here. The next play we have is going to be Celtics money line. So let's look into this one. Why is the spread? Why is this so low? Dallas has been back and forth. They haven't won multiple games since their Minnesota and Portland streak. They went back and forth against consecutive teams. But the big thing is this team has been iffy on the road this year. And in their last couple, although they've won their last couple games, but I'm rocking with Boston here. I just think even if Drew Holiday sits and Al Horford sits, I think they just have too much firepower for Dallas. I think they're too good defensively for Dallas. Kyrie Irving's going to want to obviously have a big game, but I think between Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Tatum, Porzingis, you even say Pritchard off the bench, like I think they have enough firepower to stop this team. So give me Boston money line. That's as simple as that. That was all there was to this one. And our last one is going to be Damian Lillard over 33.5 points and assists. Now, I don't like taking these props when their players are this kind of streaky. So why am I taking it? Let's look at his line real quick against this team. So in the 3 games they've played against them this year, you have 34 points, 3 assists, 33 points, 5 assists, 45 and 11. So obviously, if you want to take him for 30 plus, his line is currently at 26. You could take him for 30 plus at 155. I wouldn't mind taking that one either. That might be our no sweat bet today. We might put that in there. But I love this at 30. I would take it even at 34.5 that some books are having. But I love this at 33.5. He's kind of went back and forth, but the big thing is these 3. Not to mention, against point guards, they are giving up 25 points and 8 assists per game. That is 33 on the dot, and that's between everyone they've played. If you look here, they're giving up 30 points a game. Killian Hayes and Jaden Ivey are not going to be able to stop this guy from 3. So I just love Damian Lillard here. I think the pressure is going to be on Giannis again. They're going to be forcing Giannis to struggle again tonight. They're going to force it to Lillard's hand, and I think they're just going to hope his streaky shooting cools off tonight. But this is what we're rocking with. Those are our 3 plays. We have Pistons plus 12, Celtics money line, and Dame time going off 33.5 points and assists. We're going to take one more quick break, and then we're going to break down some MLB futures that I absolutely love, and we're going to take a look at a little bit of early betting for NFL playoffs. So stay tuned.
For frequency's sake has you covered on all things sports. From the squared circle to the hardwood and the gridiron to the speedway, we've got something for everyone. Walk down the aisle with the boys from Cards Subject to Change every Sunday as they take a deep dive into everything pro wrestling. Need your gambling fix? We've got you there. Enter Pit Row with Rod Villagomez and Fast Money as we win the checkered flag with NASCAR, Xfinity, and truck race winners and props. Football more your style? Explore the waters of NFL DFS with DFS Deep Dive with Brian Craighead and Jordan Kernan each week. More into the science portion of the game? We've got a double dose of action there. The Professor John Bush and Dennis Michelson take you into their science lab and dissect your week in the data lab. Want an analytical take? Nick Gurl and the team at Gridiron AI come to you each week with The Lab. Need to know who to start last minute? The network's flagship show, For Fantasy's Sake, is here in a pinch. The fellows come to you live every football Sunday from 10 to 11:30 Central with the week's best DFS, gambling, and lineup advice. And wrap up your Sundays with Joe Winkle and Nick Brinks as they come to you live with educated ignorance looking at all the day's action. Can't get enough of Joe? He comes to you 3 times a week. Not enough football on Sunday? Not a problem. Kick your feet up at lunch on Monday and slip on into the football lounge with Mark and Dan while they look at the week that was in news, notes, and more. For frequency's sake, you know what we mean.
All righty, let's go ahead and go over some MLB futures that we have placed. So for the NFL plays, we haven't really put anything in yet. I'm still waiting to see the lines move because the teams I'm rooting for are the one team I'm rooting for is heavily underdogged, and I just don't want to bet it. I think we might stay away. We might do some player props as of Friday. Might put some stuff up later in the week, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But I I'm debating on just enjoying a good football Sunday and watching a Ravens Chiefs game that I've been wanting to watch for a while, and watching the Lions just play their hearts out this weekend. So let's get into, we have 4 futures that I absolutely love for the MLB. So let's go into the first 4 futures that we have placed for MLB season. So the first one is, we are hating on this. We did all AL Central looks last night when I put these in. We have Detroit Tigers to not make the playoffs. This is minus 220. I put a unit on it. Usually we don't take a lot of these that are around minus 200s, as you know. But this is, I don't understand why this is so low. That's why I had to take it. I might even add an extra unit onto this one. But let me tell you why I don't like this one. If you look at their roster, they have not done any improvement. They haven't done anything. They have 3 prospects that should be on their roster, that probably will be on their opening day roster, that have not shown any kind of improvement. I don't see anything in the Tigers that shows that they're going to be a top 7 team, a top 8 team. I think this should be closer to a minus 500. So I will gladly take this at minus 220. Where the next one we're going with is Minnesota under 86. Now, obviously, Minnesota is going to win this division. I don't think Cleveland has what it takes. I think they're like a bad start to the season away from just pulling the plug. I think that's the big problem, is that they've been close enough to second place that they didn't want to get rid of everyone. But I think this could be the year we see that happening. This is Minnesota's division to lose, but the big thing is this is the worst division in baseball. I don't see them winning. They would have to go 90 and 72 to hit 90 wins. They need to win over 86. To win 87 games, they would need to lose 75. I think this team is capable of losing a lot more, because this team is very injury prone, like every year. They've lost 2 pitchers who were very solid for them, but were injury-prone pitchers. I didn't really see any notable add-ons this year. I just think this is a team that is going to kind of coast to the playoffs and try to maybe build towards next year. So we're going to fade Minnesota there. Now, we're going to go over the Tiger one right here first before I go. We're going over this one right here before I go over this one, because this is my favorite play of the year. I love this one. So I'm going to talk a lot about this one. So we're going to go to this one first. Tigers under 80. It makes sense with the thing, because if you're winning over 80 games, you're more than likely going to make the playoffs. And this team is not making the playoffs. This is their first year without Miggy. I think that's going to kind of boost them a little bit, because they're not having to hold a roster spot, but I don't know who they're adding. I don't think they have anyone that justifies putting this team to go at least 81 and 81. To bet this, all you got to say is, are the Tigers going to be above 500 team? If your answer is no, then you take the under. If your answer is yes, then you take the over. But in this case, I will gladly take this under. I will gladly fade them again. Like I said, I just don't see anything in this Tigers team that makes me think this team is going to perform for the playoffs, unless like Skubal and Manning and go off this year and Javi Baez returns the MVP form, but we all know that's probably not going to happen. So let me go over this play right here. This is my favorite one, and I'll show you guys why it's my favorite one. You can call me biased because, like I've said it on the show before, I like to rebuild bad teams, and this was the first one I ever rebuilt that won a championship within like my first contract on the team. But I actually really like how this team is set up. So let's look at their rotation. So you have Reagans, who didn't play the best last year, but just to show you guys kind of what he was doing, I'm going to pull up this tab actually real quick just to show you guys his stats. Look, so as you can see, look, after the trade, that first couple, as you can see before the trade, he was kind of a relief pitcher. His numbers weren't really the best. He was just that the pitcher they would use for like, hey, let's put a pitcher in for 3 innings in a blowout. As you can see, a lot of these games where he pitched more than an inning, it was blowouts. But I love him because look at his numbers in the month of July or the month of August. So after he was traded, after that trade, look, 1 run, 0, 1, 3, 3, 0, 0, 0, 20 consecutive innings 19 consecutive innings without giving up a run. He had 2 games where he gave up more than 3 runs. As you can see, his ERA right here before the trade was 5.9, and he finished at a 3.47 ERA. This guy is a legit pitcher. I really like him, and I think he's going to be big. But the big one that I'm looking at, and I don't think he's been pulled up anywhere. So that's why I'm trying to like dig through here and find him. They don't have him on the. I don't think they have him on the depth chart yet because this is based off their depth chart last year. But Kyle Wright is one of my favorite Braves pitchers. There's a lot of former Braves on this team. Nick Anderson, Will Smith are here. But I'm looking at this rotation, and this rotation obviously doesn't look like a playoff caliber team. Brady Singer is your second best pitcher. Wacha, wasn't the best last year. Lugo is kind of rotating into that starting position. Lyles was mid, and these 3 guys are just hot garbage. But their bullpen right here has a lot. Zerpa, I think, is going to be a very solid pitcher this year. You have veterans like Nick Anderson. You have Chris Stratton, Will Smith, who are going to be decent trade targets. As we saw what they did with Aroldis Chapman, they got him to the point where he was immediately traded to a playoff contending team, and he won a World Series. You got Perez coming back for another year with I think Furman is sort of solid. I think he's a good backup. I don't think he'll be like Salvi's replacement, but he's good. Melendez, I could go on for hours on how much I hate MJ Melendez, but here we are. Their depth chart's kind of off. It doesn't have a couple players that I think maybe just because of contract disputes. But if you look here, Vinny Pasquantino is the obvious go-to, I think, here at first base for them. Lefty, 6'4", and he fucking smokes the ball when he hits it. He doesn't hit it soft. So I think he's set for a huge year. You got Prado, who is solid. You have Bobby Witt Jr., who's an all-star in the making. Michael Garcia wasn't that bad last year either. Makes me feel old seeing 2000 right there and that he's playing in the pros and I'm doing this for a living. Massey was a solid role player. Their outfield, outside of Renfroe, and they don't really have a lot. I'm still big on Drew Waters. He was a Brave a couple years ago. I don't understand why they traded him because we didn't get anything for him, but obviously he wasn't going to fit on the team with Michael Harris in his position and Acuna in his secondary position. But this outfield obviously leaves something to be desired, but Renfroe is a solid bat that they can get trade pieces out of. They have a couple arms they can get trade pieces out of. I am very high on this team. They need 73 wins, so that means they just need to go 73-89. As long as they don't lose 90 games this year, I think they're solid. In this division alone, I think it's 80-something games, 60-something games you play in the division. I think they at least can go 50-50 in the division. So I'll take that any day of the week. I think this Royals team is going to surprise a lot of people this year. I will gladly take the bullet and take the loss. If I'm wrong on this one, I will come on air and say how wrong I am about this one. But I'm very high on this Royals team. I think they're going to have a great season. I don't think it's going to be a playoff caliber season, but I think it's going to be a huge step in the right direction for them. Think like Cincinnati Reds, like a little bit worse than what the Cincinnati Reds did this year, where everyone thought they were going to kind of finish third. They might finish fourth, but with a good, close fourth to third race. I think they're kind of in that they could potentially take over a 2 spot in the division, but not get anywhere near a wild card scenario for them. So give me the Royals here. So that's going to be it for us. Like I said, we're going to have some more NFL plays later on in the week. Those are our MLB futures. Those are our best bets. If we have any more, they will be posted online later on our Twitter. at For Frequency's Sake. We also, and at Gotham Gambling, we also have a Facebook page for Gotham Gambling now as well. So if you're a Facebook user, you can follow us there, and we post graphics every single day with our insight and our bets. So make sure you guys like and subscribe all of our social medias. Thank you guys all for watching, and y'all have a great day.